Good Friday morning, everybody. It is Schuyler Callihan here on Between the Ears. It is our final episode of the week. It's Fast Friday. We're not going to go very long here. We'll do this probably every Friday where it's going to be kind of a short, sweet episode to get us rolling into the weekend. And look, Kerr Kriisa, he's the only sure thing that will be in terms of reinforcements this weekend for West Virginia. Don't know about what they'll do in terms of RaeQuan Battle or Noah Farrakhan. As you'd probably noticed, the NCAA came out and pretty much said, yeah, whatever the Judge Bailey ruled in the federal court on Wednesday is nonsense. So I don't think that's a good look for them, because I think on the 27th, when he goes to make his permanent decision, that's probably not going to bode well for them. But I think this is something that they're going to have to take into consideration, the punishment of losing year of eligibility. I think that's something that they've got to consider. And unfortunately, you're probably going to have to hold on to those guys for another 3 games. But in terms of Kerr Kriisa, we do know he is coming back. This is a massive addition in many, many ways, particularly offensively. He is a straight up wizard with the basketball in his hands, can get guys in space, can really spread the floor. He can shoot the 3 well. He's just so dynamic, and he can do so many things that this offense is going to look so much better. Even if there's not elite shooters on this team, he will make this team much better on that end, just because of the creative passes, the ways he gets guys open. And I kind of liken him to a veteran NFL quarterback in some sense, in that he just throws guys open. And you can kind of see that if you go back and watch some of his Arizona tape. Some of these passes he makes, you start to scratch your head or go, oh no, no, and then it's a beautiful pass that leads to a basket. And it's honestly, I have no words for some of these things that he does. But we saw a little bit of a glimpse back in the exhibition game against George Mason, and he's good. He's really good. Now the question is, how rusty is he going to be? I think you're going to be surprised at how well he plays for his first game. I mean, he sat out for the first 9, but he's been practicing. He's been playing with these guys. It's not like it's going to be his first rodeo in months. It's just going to be his first actual game action. So I think he's going to do fairly well for his first time out. But I do think he's going to be a much different player by mid-January, a month from now, than he is Saturday in Massachusetts against UMass. So aside from the passing, aside from the shooting, what else does the addition of Kerr Kriisa mean for West Virginia? Well, depth, obviously, right? It means Kobe Johnson doesn't have to run the point. It means he doesn't have to play 30-some minutes a game. And it gives you the opportunity to play much faster. West Virginia is one of the slowest teams in the country in terms of pace. That is by design, by the way. It's not that this team can't push it. It's not that this team can't execute when they push it. It's they don't have the legs to do it. They can't play fast offensively and then have enough legs on the defensive end to be effective, especially when you only have a 6-man or 7-man rotation at best. So with the recent return of a Cook and now Kerr Kriisa, you're able to start playing a little bit faster. Now, if RaeQuan Battle and or Noah Farrakhan play, now you can really start playing at the speed you want to play. And you can pretty much play as fast as you want. But I think, too, aside from the pace, aside from the depth, it helps Kobe Johnson because he's able to play more of his natural position, which is off ball. He was never going to be a true point guard. he wasn't recruited to be that. He wasn't that in high school. He played it very well. He had I believe 2-to-1 assist turnover ratio, but he's got to go back to playing the off ball position. I think it's going to set things up better for him as well as the other four on the floor. And I also think that it's going to really benefit guys like Seth Wilson and maybe even Josiah Harris a little bit if he starts knocking down some shots. Seth has been off to a really bad start, like really, really bad start. And I put out my projected starting five and rotation for what this thing could look like if Battle and Farrakhan play. And I did have Battle in the starting five, Farrakhan coming off the bench. But I think this stays true. At least it would for me. With Kerr back, I'm putting Seth back in the starting five and putting Kobe on the bench. The only reason I'm doing that is because I think Seth Wilson hasn't played well in part of he hasn't had a true point guard who can get him shots. Seth is not a shot creator himself. He's a shooter. He's a guy that catches the ball, gets it. If he likes a shot, he's going to fire it up. He's not someone that's going to create a shot like an Eric Stevenson or even really. I think more, he's probably more like a Sean McNeil in some sense. Sean's probably a little bit better of a shot creator, but he needs a guy like Kerr Kriisa on the floor with him. And if you give him that, I think he becomes a much more effective player and a much more efficient shooter. So I think, in all honesty, I think you put Seth Wilson back in the lineup, you bring Kobe off the bench. That way, you have your backup point guard, so to speak. If you want to play him as the backup point, he can do that, or you could sub him in for Seth, and he's back in his off-ball situation. I don't know that you want to have Kerr and Kobe on the floor at the same time to start the game and have one of them get in foul trouble, and then who do you go to? So I think you got to be smart about how you handle it. I don't really think it's necessarily a wrong way to go if you do start Kobe over Seth. I really don't, but that's just my preference. I think you got Seth Wilson, who's a really good spot up shooter when he's got someone to work with, and I think you need to take that advantage of that. So Kerr Kriisa, Seth Wilson, if he plays RaeQuan Battle, Quinn Slazinski, and Jesse Edwards would be my starting five. But finally, the impact in terms of the impact of what Kerr will do to this team, I really think his addition is going to not only allow this team to be more competitive, it's going to give them chances to win more games. It's going to, I think, really help them turn this season around. It's hard to believe. I mean, it's been a tough season at 4-5. They've lost some games they shouldn't have, but there's still a chance this team can get to the NCAA tournament. It's not a far-fetched idea that they can be playing in the big dance. They've got to beat some teams that they shouldn't. They've got to take care of the games that they should. And when you have a guy like Kerr, you feel more comfortable that those things are going to happen. So I think this is massive for West Virginia. Again, at the very least, you get Kerr Kriisa back on Saturday. You might get RaeQuan and Noah 3 games from now. You might get them on Saturday too. We have no idea, but my hunch is they'll hold on until the judge makes the final hearing or final ruling. But this is a good start, and I think it's also beneficial too that he's going to at least get a few games in before Big 12 play begins. So massive, massive news for West Virginia on that front. We'll see what happens in terms of the other guys. Josh Allert said on Thursday during his press conference that he needed to see more details before he made any decisions. And I got to agree with him. I mean, the NCAA has been not the most trustworthy folks of everyone out there. So That'll do it for me here today and us for the week. This is our final episode of Between the Ears. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Mountaineers Now and give us a like on Facebook and a follow on X at the same handle. We'll be back tomorrow, not on this episode or on this show per se, but we'll be back for the Mountaineers Now post-game show, recapping West Virginia and UMass. I'll have Chris with me to break that one down. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night.